Malcolm X's story starts in Omaha, Nebraska, 1925. Born Malcolm Little, youngest of 8, his father Earl, a Garveyite preacher, spoke out so loud that the Ku Klux Klan rode to their door. Years later, the same hate took his haunted due to the danger. His grill greens was a black movement to feast. And before all that, he was just a little boy trying to make sense of the world. He built houses out of blocks while his mom stirred the pot on that old stove. Dreamed big, told his teacher he wanted to be a lawyer. She laughed and said, "Be realistic, son."
That hurt.
Nights got colder after the state took his daddy and then his mom. As a kid, he hustled, carried milk for neighbors, washed dishes till his fingers pruned, shined shoes by the streetcar stop for nickels. In class, he devoured maps and stories, dreaming past the small town line. At night, he'd read history out loud to his brothers and sisters by lamplight. Even before the world knew his name, he was soaking it all up, learning, working, questioning. Those habits shaped the man he became. But before all that, teenage Malcolm was getting it how he lived. In Boston, he shined shoes outside the ballroom, slipped inside to cut a rug, sharp as a tack. He hustled, pool, and ran numbers, always chasing that next dollar. Fast life felt good until the cops closed in. One bus for Burke. Before the speeches and the headlines, Malcolm was hustling. In Boston, he rocked zoot suits, shot dice, and ran the streets for quick money. That life pulled him deeper. Burglary crews, stolen jewelry, breaking into rich folks' homes. It caught up to him. Police kicked in the door, slapped cuffs on him and his crew. At trial, the court threw the book at him for a black man with a record. Possession of guns and stolen goods meant.
What changed him was time. Time to think, to read, to question. In that tiny cell, he devoured books, copying the dictionary line by line until the words felt like his own. He wrote letters by the dozens, searching for guidance. Through those letters, he learned about the Nation of Islam and its leader, Elijah Muhammad. The message of discipline, of self.
20s, Malcolm was on the move. Out of prison, he hit Harlem streets with newspapers in his arm and fire in his voice, teaching what he'd learned. He sat with Elijah Muhammad, soaked up strategy, and soon was running his own temple. He built mosques from Boston to Philly, organizing debate and growing a following. Behind closed doors, he planned moves like a chess player. Trained the fruit of Islam, drilling brothers in discipline on cold sidewalks. He helped launch the Muhammad Speaks newspaper, charity the message in headlines and photographs. Charity drives, soup lines, free clothing. He made service a priority. He opened schools, teaching kids about pride and math in the same breath, and he moved with security everywhere. Then he was still Cassius, loud in the ring, but soaking up knowledge everywhere else. They met in Louisville, then again at a gym in Miami, and something clicked. Malcolm saw a young brother hungry for more than wins. Ali saw a man who spoke like a coach for the whole world. They spent nights talking about faith, discipline, the way to being black. In Detroit, he met a young nursing student named Betty. Sharp-minded, steady, already drawn to the nation's teachings. They shook hands after a meeting, shared coffee that turned into hours of talk about faith, service, and the future. He walked her home through falling snow, the two of them trading stories and laughter until the streetlights blinked out. Their connection grew over books. The movement he loved started to feel smaller than the truth he was discovering. Whispers of misconduct at the top, orders that clashed with his conscience, and the growing gap between the teachings and the people they were meant to serve. It all weighed on him. When evidence confirmed that some of the leaders he revered had betrayed their own morals, Malcolm couldn't look the other way. He stepped out of the organization he helped build, choosing a path that would let him. Came the night of February 14th. While his family slept in Queens, someone tossed firebombs through the windows. Malcolm got them out into the snow, watching the house he owned burn to the studs. Investigators found jars of gasoline and rags, arson, plain and simple. He blamed elements of the nation, others pointed at the feds. No one was ever charged. Just a week later, the same poured in, calls it all out, promises of firebombs, of bullets. Still, he kept writing, kept showing up. The night before he was killed, he was in a Harlem hotel room, polishing his speech, phone pressed to his ear, silence on the other end. The next breaking with the nation cost him allies, but it gave him clarity. He spent long nights writing, plotting a new path. When he journeyed to Mecca, he saw believers of every shade, shoulder to shoulder, and it expanded his vision. He came home preaching unity across color lines, building an organization of Afro-American